You know, when I see these people who are so close to the land and living subsistence living, it doesn't surprise me that they're so close to the Lord. I find the same thing in Africa. It's just those of us who are living surrounded by concrete, I think, who lose touch. But let's talk about this climate change thing. He showed us the ice there a moment ago. Pretty tough to convince anybody in the UK or even in central or the southern states that we're suffering climate change right now. Everybody's having the coldest wave they've ever had, sometimes in Florida in history, at least since recorded climate temperatures were kept. But there is something going on with the climate, right?
Absolutely, and the Arctic is ground zero for it. And so, as you just said, you see the authenticity of their lifestyle brings out a beauty of God in them and a beauty of family up there. Not to say there's not social problems. This is a dry area that this town has chosen, and no alcohol. And yet they still have such a battle, and we'll get to that in a moment, of making their lifestyle match up with their intimacy with God, and they're succeeding in an amazing way. But what we realize is God is speaking to people up there in a way, and the fact that I'm leaving my car idling in the Tim Hortons lineup, I'm leaving the lights on, I'm consuming more energy, all of those things contribute to greenhouse gases that thin the ice conditions and make it dangerous for them to continue to be a people who hunt every day and who wear animals as clothes as part of their daily diet. Take a look now at how their lifestyle is affected by our choices on climate change. Take a look. For those of us in the South, it's hard to imagine that spotting a caribou like this one, or skinning a polar bear, or carving up a seal is daily dinner process for the Inuit. There may be a Hollywood campaign to stop seal hunting, but here the seal is critical for human survival.
And the rest of these are seals. My wind pants are seals. They protect me from the wind and from the cold. They are a lot better than what we buy from northern stores or Co-op. These are the things that are more suitable to be used up here when we go out hunting. They're waterproof, made waterproof by ladies. They sew them. The jacket is homemade. My wife made it for me. These are sealskin mitts. They're the best to be used up here in Nunavut in cold weather.
It's fascinating. We've got all these really cool outdoor shops these days selling all kinds of high-tech outdoor equipment. You wear it up there and you freeze.
Well, and so just that reminder that we make a paradigm down south and we say this is how it is. Up north, the values are completely different as it comes to the purpose that God gave them animals for. And this idea that as the ice thins and changes, their lifestyle is affected.
Yeah. And what about their spiritual life, Lorna?
All right. Well, it's been there for a long time, but there is, and that was one of the reasons we went up there. And we've heard these stories on Huntley Street that revival is coming to the Arctic, that people are reigniting their spirituality. Take a listen in on just how they're doing that. Christianity has long been familiar here. In the late 1800s, Anglican missionaries put the Inuktitut language into a syllabic system. But today, there are no missionaries or paid clergy in Coral Harbor. Instead, faith is being renewed through a different route. Honesty. Men sitting together, telling the truth.
My son is 22 years old now, and I have never been a real father to him for all these years.
And I started to realize that this is the pain that I've been carrying. Maybe if I let it out, and even though the most hard part was trying to take it out through the mouth, the pain that you have in your heart.
Once he started sitting with the mess group, he realized he was not the only one. We're all the same. We all have the same problems.
Breaking their isolation, hearts thawed.
I must look at myself. I can't look at him, look at other people. I can't look at my kids. I don't look at my wife. I have to look at Noel. see what's inside. What does God want inside me?
Pain that I had, I was passing it to my kids, to my family. I have to cut that rope and start a new life with my family. So one of the best ways that, forgive me for not being a father to you. Forgive me for not being a husband to you.
It's called, our men's group is called Anguti Makigyarninga, Men Rising. That's the title, that's our title. Satan doesn't like that, and he will fight for whatever it takes to bring the man back down.
And for the fight, this tool, that translation began over 100 years ago, the Bible.
This is my life. This is the life that was given to me. If I read it, I can walk with Jesus. It tells you everything what you have to do in your life. As a men's group, we are standing on Bible.
So it's not just the climate that is changing lifestyles in Coral Harbor. A spiritual warming is also.
Because the communication with God out in the thunderies, it's so powerful. As hunters, when we go out, we are not only hunting, we're communicating with our God out there. He's talking to us. Not by speaking, but by thought, by Holy Spirit. You're communicating.
Now, Lorna, you can't do a story like this and not be impacted personally.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's one of the adventure aspects of the work you do. How did this story impact you?
I was humbled. As I flew up, I'm embarrassed to say, I thought, this is not practical to live up here. You're past the tree line. You're subsidizing groceries to get them up here. I just felt it wasn't practical. And when I got there, I was just embarrassed that I thought all of my function down in the South was more important than the authenticity and sincerity of relationships and connection to each other and God that I saw there.
Being humbled is something that almost goes with the territory when you touch base with people who are living on such a pure level. What's next for Listen Up? I saw this article in the Globe about praying for our soldiers. Are you on a track there?
We are working on a program which has got a working title called Radicalization. Jim, we're screening for everything at the airport. What are we doing to screen for beliefs? We need to get to the bottom of the core that what people believe about religion can actually be healthy or extremely harmful. And so we're going to tackle that very politically sensitive topic. We're going to listen to the imams in Toronto who've called a fatwa on anyone who wants to launch an attack in North America. They're blowing the whistle on their own faith group, the Muslims are. We're going to hear from terrorists who have converted to Christianity. We're going to work with Nizar Shaheen, who has a number of those stories. And we're going to hear, what does it take to police the heart, to screen the heart for good belief about God, for truth?
Well, that's terrific, Lorna. You always have stimulating insights, and this story in the article was terrific. Thanks for coming our way.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll be back with Truth to Go right after this.